Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome in. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN. This is host Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Monday morning, a brand new Monday. We're live here from the Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. We're Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5, you can bring your car in here and get your car serviced. Now, always remember, we tell you this every time we're here. If you have to keep your car here longer than you really want to, and you got to get out and about, you can rent a Toyota. That's right, hourly rentals available. Just come on in here. They'll get you all taken care of, and then you can go about your business, get your car serviced, and come on back here and be good to go. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline or the phone lines. Give us a call on this Monday morning. We have got a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of stuff to boil down, and a lot of stuff to look forward to as we begin the new week. But get you going right out of the gates. Another crazy weekend of college basketball. And if you've been paying attention to the SEC, the middle half of the league is okay. And when I say middle half of the league, I'm saying from about LSU down, maybe that far. Ole Miss for sure. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, get Georgia, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Missouri. They're okay. Well, let's take out Vanderbilt and Missouri out of that equation. They're okay. The rest of the teams are okay. Your upper half, Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, they are good. So much so, just let this sink in for 1 second. Tennessee right now is on track to be the number one seed in the SEC, and we'll break all that down from the weekend. But then you have South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn, and Kentucky. And then you can throw Florida in that equation, maybe. Tennessee, one of those, well, two of those, are going to get left out of the double bye for the SEC tournament. There's only 4 teams that can get the double bye for the SEC tournament. You're going to have, my point is, you're going to have 2, maybe 3 really good basketball teams not get a double bye, and that's just how competitive the top half of the league is.
Well, I know, we already know that is. It's going to be Kentucky because they're not beating Tennessee. They have no chance in hell. I'll just go ahead and tell Jeff you can shut your damn voicemail up or whatever the hell. You're not winning in Thompson Bowling Arena. Okay, you're just not. Right. I don't give a crap if they lose to South Carolina. You're not losing on all them seniors that are playing their last game in Thompson Bowling. They're going to beat the hell out of Kentucky. Okay, I'm just going to call it. I don't care how many first-round picks Kentucky's got. Don't really give a crap. They're going to beat Kentucky. So Kentucky's not getting a bye. Florida's not either.
The double bye.
So that's what I mean. They're not playing. They're not getting the double bye till Friday. It's going to be Tennessee, South Carolina, and to me, it's a 2-horse race now. One of them two's winning it with Kentucky. I just don't see them winning at Tennessee. And then with South Carolina, I got to give them credit. When they lost at home and kind of shocked me to LSU, I thought, okay, their bubbles burst. They may
the real South Carolina stand up.
Well, not the real. I just thought, okay, they're not going to win the conference, but they stabilized themselves, and now they got a legit shot. I mean, they have Tennessee at home on Wednesday. At home. Okay, and they've already beat Tennessee. So if they win this game, you have the tiebreaker. Okay, and I've said this on 2 other shows. I did 2 shows. That's how basketball's crazy right now. I did 2 shows on the way in this morning, and I said on both shows, I said, look, here's what is going to happen. Whoever wins the game, and I think it's going to be Tennessee personally on the road. I think Tennessee understands what's at stake because Tennessee has a shot to get a 1 seed. Okay. But because I don't think South Carolina does, and no disrespect to the game,
no,
because their schedule.
No, they don't.
Who their schedule. But I will say, Tennessee has never been a 1. They've been a 2 a few times.
3 times they've been a 2 seed. Twice under Bruce Pearl and once under Rick Barnes. Yes.
I will say, if they win this conference in the regular season and at least get to the finals in Nashville, and especially if they do the double like Alabama did, they're going to be a 1. Okay, so they know that's at stake, and they know they lost by 4, in Thompson Bowling Arena to send a close game to South Carolina. I think they're going to get it done. Right. Then, of course, beat Kentucky and be the 1 by themselves. But if South Carolina, and it's not inconceivable, sweeps Tennessee, I know they got to go to Mississippi State, Scott, and Mississippi State may be playing for their lives, but I don't see South Carolina losing that game if they know what's at stake, which is going to be the number 1 overall seed in Nashville. And you and I would have to research this, and I was there in Birmingham for Media Day.
Yeah.
When is the last time a team picked dead last by the media won the regular season championship in the Southeastern Conference?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I'd have to really go back and look at that one.
If
I couldn't
happens,
do that in a commercial.
Of course, Lamont Paris will be SEC Coach of the Year.
I think he already is.
He should be National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I would say.
Because, I think there's no question. But I just think the winner of that game between South Carolina and Tennessee is going to win it. And then what I was going to say, Alabama has a very faint heartbeat right now, okay, with a chance to still tie for it. But they're going to have to win at Florida. I'm not necessarily sure that's going to happen. They need to get Latrell Wrightsell back, first of all. But we'll see. But it's going to be tough to win at Florida. Yeah. But I just think overall, I still like Alabama's chances of getting the double bye, and I like Auburn's because Auburn, they have the weakest schedule left. I think Auburn is going to get to the finish line at 13-5.
And they do need Kentucky to get tripped up by Tennessee or another one along the way.
They lost the tiebreaker.
Yes,
and I think that's going to happen. So to me, I think the top 4 is going to be Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, and Auburn.
Okay.
And then that's going to be your top 4 in Nashville. They're going to get the double byes, and then just missing it is going to be Kentucky and Florida. And then Mississippi State, this is a big week for Mississippi State because I still think they got a good shot at getting in, but you need to get some wins. And they're going to get South Carolina at home, which is going to be a huge one. And
they're 8-8 in the conference coming in. They're tied with LSU.
Right.
But they've got to get something going. They don't have much of a heartbeat as far as the NCAA tournament goes. Joe Lenardi has them on the outside looking in.
They are on the outside now.
I
wondered what would happen after they dropped the game to Auburn.
Yes.
But I expected them to. They weren't going to win in Neville and sweep Auburn. I just didn't see that happening. And so they are the only one with it. Like LSU doesn't have a chance. Like I'll give LSU credit in Matt Mitchell and all those guys. I never thought that they would get to 8-8 right now. With some of their losses, that just seemed inexplicable to me. But they've played better basketball down the stretch. They do have some talent, and they're 8-8. But they're 16-13. They don't have a chance.
Yeah.
Mississippi State is probably a team that needs to at least split this week and then win a couple of games in Nashville to ensure they get in. Because otherwise, you're going to be sweating out the first 4. Are we going to be in the first 4?
So all of this talk that we have this morning right out of the gates is all predicated because of the results that have happened over the weekend.
Right.
And that being Tennessee comes into Coleman Coliseum and they leave with an 81-74 win. You got to see the Vols up close and personal. You got to see Alabama, which you've seen them up close and personal a few times this year already. But you did say the environment was the best it's been in a while, and that Tennessee team, it was a scrappy little ball game.
Well, I was there for the comeback against Auburn last year at home to win the regular season SEC. That was tremendous. But I'll just say, and some of it had to do with game day being in town, for the first time ever, ESPN College Game Day. But you could just tell, and I got there early, Scott. I got there an hour and a half. I didn't come in hot. I got in there an hour and a half early. And first of all, I almost didn't find my seat.
Right.
I'm usually on the first 3 rows, and I started looking, and I saw these NBA scouts. That's to be expected because they're late in the season, they're scouting people, and Tennessee's really good. So you're looking around, you're like, okay, NBA scout. Then you see TV, and then the beat writers are up where they usually are, and then I'm not seeing any radio. I'm like, where am I even? Is it a standing room only? I thought maybe I'm going to be told that it's standing room only.
Right.
Maybe I'm up there with the camera folk. And then I keep rising up the rows, and then finally I find a Tide 109 and a Tuscaloosa Thread, and the very last seat on the very last row is 97.7 The Zone. I got the last seat, but it was still a good vantage point. And as you saw, I put up a video. I just videoed. You could tell this was an hour, basically, a little change before tip-off.
Yeah.
How electric the place already was getting. There was all these people buzzing around, and then it was just, and then the crowd even 30 minutes before nearly every seat was taken, and then where my seat was, I'm right next to some fans. I can reach out and give them 5. They're everywhere. And then it just so happened that I ran into a dude that was from Huntsville who was sitting right over the rail. So it was just crazy. People were the atmosphere was electric. That's why it was so disappointing to lose and Alabama didn't play well early, and Tennessee came out punching, but Alabama found a way to get a halftime lead, 41-39, which I thought was legit. And then they came out and got a lead finally. They were able to start to separate a little bit, and I thought they had a really legit shot to win the game. I had picked them to win 91-83 because I thought they could push the pace. But during this time where they got Connect in foul trouble, he came off the floor. They were not able to pull away. They had too many empty possessions, live ball turnovers. The second half, after playing a really good first half, I thought, and he may have been a little under the weather, but I just thought Estrada, he struggled. He couldn't get his 3 to drop, and then he wasn't doing much off the dribble except for turning the ball over. And then the only 2 guys that really showed up in the second half were Mark Sears, who outplayed Connect but didn't get the win. And then Nick Pringle, I always say, when you need a can, not a half can, not crumbs, he gave them quite a bit. He played with a lot of energy. There was 2 people that laid turds in this game.
Grant Nelson?
Yeah, he laid an absolute turd. He fouled out in 16 minutes, was 1 for 3 with 3 points, got pushed around. And then Rylan Griffin, who's been good in conference play and shot it well. Too many hero ball shots, too many step-in threes. He should have been trying to get to the rim more, he and Estrada both. And I just thought he struggled. He was 2 for 11, Scott. He had 5 points. He just didn't give them nearly enough. They needed double figures out of him against a team of this caliber.
Right.
And I just felt like with Estrada's struggles, he ended up 6 of 16. And then the no-shows from Rylan Griffin and Grant Nelson, it was too much to overcome without Latrell Reitzel. They did get 6 from Cosby. He hit 2 threes, so he gave him a little bit. But they needed more from the dudes, your dudes that have to show up against a team like that, and they just didn't. And so I thought Tennessee was a little bit too tough for him, a little bit too physical, a little bit too good. They did a good job on Connect. He only ended up with 13, but see, but here's the underrated part. Last year by this time, they had lost to Kai Ziegler to an ACL.
Yes, they did. It really affected Tennessee.
He makes them totally different with his ball pressure and his ability to make threes, his ability to score, and then you've got the 2 Social Security guys in Vescovy, who's been around for 6,000 years, and Josiah Jordan James.
Yeah, he was there when Coleman was being built.
Yeah, and then Meshack, he makes 2 big shots. He didn't take a lot of shots, but he made them at big times. And then I thought the backbreaker for Alabama, Scott, it's 69-67, and it's in the last 5-6 minutes of the game. It's 69-67 after Pringle makes free throw. It looks like they're going to get a stop. They force a bad 3, but they get a back tap, Tennessee does, and keep the possession, get an offensive rebound, and bam, they hit a 3 to go up 70-65. And I felt like that was a backbreaker for Alabama because they needed to get the game tied and then find a way to get a lead late and put the pressure on Tennessee, and they never could.
Well, loose balls was something Nate Oates mentioned in his post-game press conference. Take a listen.
Mm-hmm. We made 2 of our last 13 field goals. We scored a field goal for about 9 minutes. We got to make better decisions down the stretch. I thought they were the quicker team to allow loose balls throughout the night. If you're going to win a championship, there's championship level plays that have to be made that we didn't make. And when you get a 7-point lead against a good team, you can't take possessions for granted. I thought we threw away way too many possessions in the offensive end, so we got to learn from it. They're a veteran group. I mean, I looked, every kid they play outside of Estrella played less than 3 minutes as a freshman. Waka as a sophomore played less than 8 minutes. Everybody else a junior or senior or fifth-year senior. You go on the list, and Stevenson starting as a freshman, should have been a senior in high school, 25 minutes, and Sam Walters, Devin Cosby, Diabate, Ryan Griffin's a sophomore. We're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores. They need to grow up in a hurry if we're going to try to have a shot to win these last two and try to make a run at the SEC tournament. We need those guys to grow up and play a little more like juniors and seniors and freshmen and sophomores, but you got to give Tennessee a ton of credit.
Nate Oates after the Tennessee-Alabama game.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's just the better team. I've been saying on the show that I thought Tennessee was the best team in the league. And going in, I thought before the season, I thought it was Tennessee and Kentucky. Now Kentucky, 102 to Ernest T. Bass. Now they still win the game. I had to ask 2 or 3 times to people, "Is this regulation?" And they said, "Yes, it's regulation." I'm like, "Good Lord!"
Yeah.
And so I was just like, "But Kentucky's extremely talented, but Tennessee's the best team because they're so old."
Right.
And then they got Dalton Connect. So I just think Tennessee proved they were the best team, and it's going to come down to Tennessee and South Carolina, which is astounding. But I still think Tennessee is my pick.
All right, let's get a break in. Our first break of the morning here on Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. When we come back, we will hear from Bruce Pearl. The Auburn Tigers victorious over Mississippi State at home on Saturday. We'll check in with Coach Pearl. A lot of stuff to get through. Plus your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I reckon Decatur, 6th Avenue and 14th Street should be clearing. Everything else looks good this morning. Traffic at a heavy level now. We do have some areas of fog, so you want to be careful on that trip in this morning. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle. The same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out, or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process. Power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond hanging out with you on a Monday. We're here, Bill Penny Toyota Service Department, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let Bill Penny Toyota Service Department service your vehicle. If you need it taken care of, they can take care of everything. If you need to give them a call, you can. 256-837-1111 to schedule your Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. Performing your Toyota oil change at a factory recommended maintenance intervals is a great way to keep your Toyota and other vehicles running great and maintain their value. All right, the Auburn Tigers were victorious over the weekend as well. They were inside Neville Arena, and they get the 78-63 win over Mississippi State. After the game, Bruce Pearl happy with his team's performance.
Well, it's a good win against a good team. You know, that to me, Mississippi State, it's like a second-round NCAA tournament game. And that's what I told our guys. I was concerned of the gauntlet of, you know, Alabama and Kentucky and South Carolina and at Tennessee and Georgia, and then playing what I thought was this, you know, still do set up probably the third best team that we've had in here. And I thought the fact that we played well early, shot it well early, and the fact that we were able to turn them over 10 times and get them to run their offense way away from where their comfort zone was, made it harder for them to get the ball into their deep touches. You know, they still out-rebounded us, and you know, still, you know, again, kind of dominated on the boards. Last thing is just great balance from Auburn. Again, our strength is our 11. I don't have anything on Lior yet. We'll get that to you tomorrow.
And we do have the latest on Lior Berman.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, tears his ACL, and he is done for the season for the Auburn Tigers.
Last season at Auburn, he came back. I think this is his fifth year, and for a COVID year. And Lior is a guy that I've known for a while as far as watched him, because he played for Bucky at Mountain Brook. He's a freaking genius. I want to say he had a 35 or a 36 on his ACT. I mean, this dude is just off the chart smart. He could have gone to a smaller school and played. He had offers, but he wanted to try to play at the highest level. He walked on at Auburn and earned everything he ever got.
Ended up getting a scholarship.
Yeah, 2 years ago. He's been on scholarship multiple years.
Yes, they awarded him a scholarship.
Yes. And he kept it. Okay? This was not one of these one-year things.
Right.
He's been a guy in the rotation. There's times he only plays maybe 5 minutes a game, but he always does things right. He can shoot it. So smart, and just hated to hear that his career is going to end like that. It's kind of like me on a high school level talking about Merrick McCartney at Huntsville High, because Lior was always ready. He always played his role. Merrick did the same thing at Huntsville High. Merrick tears his ACL in the area tournament. Now Lior tears his ACL here at the end of the regular season. You just hate to see that.
How many times do you hear coaches say, practice, 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 because you never know when your number is going to be called?
Be ready.
Be ready. Leora Berman was that guy. You never knew when his number was going to be called, and when they called it, he was always ready to go. And it's sad.
And it is, and I've been in press conferences with Bucky McMillan and heard him talk about Leora. I know Christian Swears thinks a lot of Leora. Of course, current Mountain Brook coach Tyler Davis, who was part of that staff, they all know him very well. And it's just, you hate to see that, where he's not going to be able to end his career on the floor at Auburn and then getting into another NCAA tournament. It just stinks.
All right, the Auburn Tigers, as you mentioned, they have just 2 games left of their schedule as well, and it's very favorable down the stretch for the Auburn Tigers to continue. They will travel to Missouri, and by the way, Missouri is still setting records that you don't want to set, as they are winless. They're winless. They have yet to win a conference game, and I believe it's the longest losing streak in conference play for the Missouri Tigers, because you go back to last year where they dropped a couple. But they are setting a record you don't want to set, and then they'll finish up at home with Georgia. So those are the last 2 remaining games for the Auburn Tigers down the stretch. The rest of the SEC, Ernest T. Bass gave a ride. They gave Kentucky all they could handle. But Kentucky wins at 111 to 102. Not a lot of defense there. We know Kentucky doesn't play defense to begin with. But
they don't. But I mean, it's they get the dub, and like we said, I mean, I think I knew going in that. I mean, of course, Mississippi State was a little bit of a tricky game, but Auburn got it done. And then Auburn, having to, I just think when you look at their last 2 games, Auburn has the easiest road of anybody left in the SEC, and I think that will ensure them getting that double bye in Nashville. Of course, the Auburn fans will travel strong. They will. Auburn, of course, as we said, is going to they're going to play Missouri on the road. And look, Dennis Gates. I was asked this on the way in here about coaching changes within the conference, Scott. I was even asked about Ernest T. Bass, and I said, well, if Ernest T. leaves, it'll be via his own accord. I don't think he'll be fired because they have underachieved this year. Right. Because he's the best coach they've had since Nolan Richardson. Now, do I hope he leaves? Yeah, sure. Because I'm not a huge fan. But he could leave for another job. But I would say that's about 30%. And then the other 2 jobs you're looking at is Vandy and talking to people that we've had on this show.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not sure that that's really on the table, that they're going to, do something with Stackhouse. And then the only other one would be Gates. But Dennis Gates has got a top 10 recruiting class. He had a great team last year.
He lost a lot.
Go 0 for you. He's a good young coach. I don't see Missouri pulling the plug there.
I brought up the whole Jerry Stackhouse situation to some coaches over the weekend.
Right.
And they all said there's no way Vanderbilt can bring him back. There's just no way.
Yeah, I would agree, because there would be 2 people in the stands.
And I said, well, right now the Vanderbilt athletic department is such a mess that at this point you have to think the total opposite of what they're going to do, of what they should do. And that is let Jerry Stackhouse go, that they will actually keep him, because the athletic department and those calling the shots right now is such a mess that you would not be surprised if they actually did keep him for another year.
And was there an incredulous response?
Really?
No. That's what the response was.
Really? I said, yes. Really? Yes. Well, I mean, that's the situation, though, that's surrounding Vanderbilt. And we talked about this, and if you think about it, baseball, and we were talking about this in the commercial break, you and I were last week, I think, that the only sport that they have going right now is baseball. Everything else, women's basketball used to be on the upper end.
It's better now, but yeah.
It's not near where it was. Kevin Stallings had that basketball program going in the right direction, and he was for so many years there solid. And they don't have anything now. The football program is, we all know what it is, but the athletic department at Vanderbilt right now, and it's hard to say, and it's tough to say, because Candace Doyley joined this show. Yeah. And she is a Bob Jones graduate, and it's hard to say.
And she played at Vanderbilt.
Yes, it's tough to say that, but
during the days they were good.
That program right now is
a disaster.
It is. So it is a disaster.
I mean, so to me they do. Now, what's going to be interesting is if Vanderbilt has a terrible week this week. They've already had a bad year. And then they go out in the first game of the SEC tournament because they'll probably be playing that first day. You know what I'm saying? So if they go out, are enough boosters, and this is what has happened at other places, like with Anthony Grant and Grant's get ball, and there was two people, and I was calling it Coleman Mausoleum back in those days.
Yes.
You could throw things and just hit seats.
And hit empty seats.
Yeah, because trust me, I covered some games. That was some of the first games I ever covered. It was like Coleman Mausoleum. It was bad. So, it got to the point where boosters, went to the AD and said, I won't give you another penny unless you pull the plug.
Do you think the Vanderbilt boosters, though,
is there enough?
Yeah.
Are there enough people? Yeah. And I've got stuff flying everywhere here. I didn't break my phone there. But I don't think so. That's why these cases are pretty strong here. But I just, again, are there enough that care?
That's the point. That's
now,
the point of it.
Then Stack may be back, and he'll have to completely rebuild the roster through the portal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He'll have to hold on to some of the young guys he's got, and then he'll have to go into the portal and try to rebuild his roster. But again, our fans, I think that's what the coaches were really when they were giving you, because how do you sell tickets? How do you get people excited? How do you get them to show up? Because I've already been told by people close to Vanderbilt this year that as far as Tennessee coming in, Alabama, the arena, it sounds like a road game.
Well, I guess they're so used to it on the football side that now they're just used to it in basketball.
I don't know, but it's just...
They're making money.
And it's a great... we always talk about this. It's such an easy trip to Nashville and back.
It is.
For a lot of people. So
it is.
And so it's going to be really interesting. So, and again, Stack had a good team last year. Nearly made the tournament.
Right.
But this year has not been good. It's almost been as bad as Missouri. In some ways. So, I don't know, man. And it's always kind of seemed to be an odd fit with Stackhouse there, even though I think he's done a decent job. But I've always also felt like Stack wanted to go to the NBA. But again, are those opportunities there? And
I don't think those opportunities are there with what he's done or lack of.
And then 2 years ago, when Roy Williams retired,
right,
and they handpicked Hubert, you never really heard his name come up for North Carolina, and he's an alum.
You know why?
And so we'll see. I've always heard that he came to Vanderbilt because he was frustrated with his lack of opportunity in the NBA because he was a G League coach.
Yes.
And wasn't getting opportunities to move up. But and again, there's some things offensively he's done that have been pretty good, but I think he struggled a little bit with the recruiting aspect.
Yes.
And then again, these NBA guys don't seem to translate well to college basketball. So it's going to be really fascinating to see if he is ultimately, if they dismissed, because I don't think Mike White, he's recruiting well at Georgia. I know it hadn't gone well the second half of the year. I don't think he's in any trouble.
Well, no, because that Georgia program was so far down.
Yeah,
and Mike White's actually somewhat improved it a little bit. I think he's got them competitive, and they've had some near losses at home against some big-time opponents where they could get wins. Vanderbilt has not even had that.
No.
Vanderbilt's not even been in close games with these big-time guys.
And Ernest T. Bass, before we go on break, he's got Elite Eight, Sweet 16.
He's going to be fine.
This is his first bad year.
Yes.
Okay, so and if there's any kind of change, it's only going to be because some other university comes in and tries to scoop him up while the fan base at Arkansas is frustrated.
Maybe a West Coast team. Maybe that always seems to be the thing with him, is that go back out towards the west side of the country.
But the only problem is there's no Pac-12 left to go to.
Right. No, you're right.
Who?
No. Well, what job? Well, he's not going to go there, but Washington is going to move on.
There's only one job that I think could be intriguing for him because there's a lot of money, and they're going to the Big Ten. But there's been rumors about Dana Altman retiring at Oregon. Because your son's out there in that state. You know how deep their pockets are.
Oh, some schools out there are. I'll tell you that. You just didn't pick the right one.
But Oregon, they could be interesting.
Yes,
because
you're right.
And you've got Phil Knight, you've got the deep NIL pool. That would be one job where I think you might keep your eyes on. But DeArmond, I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. Now right now they're on the wrong side of the bubble, but it's hard to believe, but he's like 65 years old.
And there's been a lot of speculation that this might be it for him.
Yeah, so with the success that Musselman had in Nevada, he had a lot of success.
That's why
there.
people think he's going to go back out that direction if a job ever came open.
Right.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, college football news. Johnny Manziel keeping his name relevant, but this time for good reasons. Agree or disagree when we come back.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Increasing clouds heading into this Monday night. We'll see low temperatures fall into the upper 50s for the overnight. A few isolated showers going to be possible mainly after midnight as well. Heading into your Tuesday, widespread rainfall, potentially a few thunderstorms going to be possible. High temperatures look to top out in the upper 60s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 25 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We look pretty good at this point. Had that one wreck indicator, 6th Avenue and 14th Street. It should be gone now. Haven't picked up anything new since that report, so you be careful. The fog seems to be improving as well. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is the Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue, where they have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org. March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available in 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the BBC box office.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tail incoming flights? You want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials light trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials light trap. Insecticide-free protection.
AL cert number 21014.
Are those high utility bills driving you crazy this time of year? If they are, Talent Heating and Air has the special for you.
That's right. We're going to run a $49 spring checkup on your system. We're going to come out, we're going to check those heat kits, make sure that everything was working through the winter right, and then we're going to also make sure your Freon's good, make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
How important is that to be done this time of year?
It's really the most important time of the year. We can avoid safety concerns caused by wintertime use, and then we can also make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
And to get ready for the summertime, you just got to call
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
That's Talent Heating and Air. One more time.
256-503-4490.
Talent Heating and Air. Let them save you money.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And 256-576-4977. You want to join the program this morning, feel free to do so. Let's go out to the phone lines. And that is where Richard is with us out of the break. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Richard.
Morning, guys.
Hey, Richard, I know you were there, man. Yeah, it was rocking.
Rocking it to Coleman on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you're a season ticket holder, you go to all the home games. I thought it was even more electric than the Auburn game last year where they came back. It was as electric, and I got there early, Richard. I did not go to the Buckhorn game. I could not bring myself to go back to the Legacy Arena due to the Huntsville High loss. It just kind of stuck in my craw. But I did follow those games and listen to the feeds, watch it on TV. But
I sort of went. We left middle of the fourth quarter because we had to meet a few people to go to dinner in Tuscaloosa.
Right.
So I missed the exciting part. So myself, I was there for 3.5 quarters anyway. So
yeah, it was a heck of a game. I was listening. I had somebody, I was listening, then somebody called me and then started giving me play-by-play. If you had told me before the game that Caleb Holt's going to foul out near the end of regulation and Buckhorn is going to win it in overtime without Caleb Holt, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this. So UAH basketball, we were playing at West Georgia.
Right.
Or not West Georgia. We were playing at Valdosta State on Saturday.
Yeah, in South Georgia.
So the Buckhorn game is going on at the same time as the UAH basketball game is going on. Coach Harding's two sons.
I can imagine.
Dylan coaches for UAH and Dane plays for UAH. Okay, so Dylan is trying his hardest, and I mean trying his hardest to coach the guys on the floor to run the offense, because he and Max Schulman help run the offense. So they are trying their hardest to concentrate on the offensive side of the basketball while their dad is coaching in the 6A's title game. So we get to halftime, and Dylan has I have my phone, so they can't have their phones, and they're trying hardest not to be on their phones. I have my phone, and I just kind of like pull up the score or whatever. Dylan's face is just, it was so, I felt so bad for him because they're wanting to know what's going on with their dad, and they're also trying to whip Valdosta State, which they were able to do. But it was so interesting to kind of just see the emotion of what it means to them as much as what it means to the players.
Right.
You guys were talking about coaching changes. One you've heard Musselman about is Louisville too.
Oh yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because Louisville's going to throw money out. One thing on Vanderbilt, and they're private. You just hear rumors. You guys talk to Bob Lee, but supposedly Stackhouse has a pretty good buyout.
He does. That's what I've heard. They gave him an extension a couple of years ago, and that's what Chris Lee has told us, that he has a pretty substantive buyout too. So that's another sticking point as to getting Stackhouse. Because trust me, Stack ain't going to go out. Ain't going to leave without his buyout. Okay, if they fire him.
One thing too is, I would assume they're limited NIL because you have. I guess I don't know if he's still hurt or not, but the Studi guy at South Carolina plays a lot.
Yeah.
He transferred out last year, and then you have the fellow at LSU.
Jordan Wright. Yep.
Jordan Wright. So you have probably two starters. Two of their starters from last year. Or I guess I don't know about Studi starting at South Carolina, but he was playing significant minutes. And White, I'm pretty sure, starting at LSU, and then from a couple of years ago, Dessou is the starting center for Texas.
Yeah, Dylan Dessou. Yeah, he was a really good young player. Like at Vandy, and he went home. Yeah.
And Magnona almost went to Auburn, going into the portal this last year.
Oh wow, I didn't hear that. That would have been major for Auburn because Magnona's smooth.
And they basically, I think they finally came up with some money, but you're not going to get a coach in there even if you fire Stackhouse. If you don't have enough NIL to bring bodies in.
Right, no doubt.
Especially at this level, like you guys were talking about, the top 7 or 8 teams in the SEC are going to the SEC. I mean, the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no such thing as an easy win.
No, there's not. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to going to Nashville. I think Tennessee is, in my opinion, going to be the favorite going in, but I still think that Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina, even Kentucky, because they can flat score it and it'll be on a neutral floor with all their fans there, they're still going to be, it's still going to be pretty wide open. I don't think Florida can win it just because I don't think they're good enough defensively, but I think there's 4 or 5 teams that could win the SEC tournament.
What you have to think if South Carolina loses, you could have Auburn and Alabama in that 2-3 game, 2-3. They play each other, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Richard.
Okay, see you guys later.
Thanks for the phone call.
Richard.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's get one more in here. Jeff from the Borough with us. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys? You guys talking about Vanderbilts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, Stackhouse. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, a little bit. We just don't think
I know it's $8.5 million.
It's
$8.5 million. That's pretty big.
That's pretty big. $8.5 million. That's what it is.
That was a pretty dumb extension to give him that kind of money. But again, it's what Scott goes back to: the athletic department right now not being run properly, and it's a disaster.
Yes.
Well, it's. I mean, that's why some people said that he'll be back because of it, because of that reason.
Right.
The buyout he has. They say that some people. I mean, most people up here want him gone, but
I would think so.
You would say that he will be back for at least one more year. Now,
right.
You know. Well, I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah, that's his buyout. So that's just the way it is. But no, interesting. I watched the last about 3 or 4 minutes of the Alabama game, so Tennessee game. I mean, you know, Tennessee made a few plays late and won it. It looks like they're going to win it. They've got to play South Carolina still, and they play Kentucky this weekend. So in Knoxville, anything can happen there, you know. I mean, last couple of times we went in there, we weren't supposed to win and won, and there's been nights that, you know, I can tell you in the past that, you know, I mean, I can tell you, back years ago, I mean, they called him Mel Turner, they called him Mel the Dinner Bell. He scored 42, and they couldn't win. They couldn't stop him, and they still couldn't win. So they've had great teams go in there and lose, and they've had bad teams go in there and win. I mean, you know, they weren't supposed to, a couple years ago, they weren't supposed to be on the same floor with Tennessee, and they beat them. So, you know, I don't put nothing past Cal, but as far as our chance to win the regular season, no. But if we can get a top 4 seed and stay where we are to play Friday, which it looks like they'll get, because they're tied with Auburn right now, and they have the tiebreaker over Auburn. So, and if South Carolina beats Tennessee, it'd probably be a tie with it between them and Alabama.
Maybe, but Alabama's got to win at Florida. I mean, I just I don't, and I think that's going to be a tough one. I mean, I think the Gators are really good. Now, is it a winnable game for Alabama? Yes, just like I guess it's a winnable game for Kentucky at Tennessee, but I don't like Tennessee's chances, I don't like Kentucky's chances at Tennessee. I don't like Alabama's chances at Florida, I'll be honest about it. And that was even before they lost to Tennessee. I thought Alabama could beat Tennessee and had a better shot at Tennessee almost than the Florida game, but because the Florida game's on the road. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kentucky. I know you disagree with me, Jeff. I don't think Kentucky's going to get a top 4, but I still think there's a scenario where they could win the SEC tournament and win 4 games.
Yeah, they can do that. But I was going to say,
they can score.
Did you see the wild baseball game this weekend? The 7-run homers in Columbia, Missouri 28, Northern Kentucky 10.
I saw the score. I didn't see how it happened, but I saw the 28-10 the score. Yeah.
The football game broke out in the baseball game. Y'all hang that guy. See you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Again, like I said, I think Kentucky. Overall, I don't think they get a top 4. I just don't. I don't see it happening. I don't see them beating Tennessee in Knoxville on senior night. I know they have in the past, but this is not a good defensive team at Kentucky. Now, if you get on a neutral floor in Nashville and you get hot, then
a lot of things can
Kentucky
happen.
could do it. Now, I'm not going to put it past them on a neutral floor in Nashville. And look, I've been to enough SEC tournaments. You've been to SEC tournaments.
Kentucky travels.
We know how they travel.
Yes, Big Blue Nation is there in force.
Now, I will say, I would expect Tennessee's crowd to be big this year, too. I would think, because they got a 1 seed that they
I would expect Alabama's crowd to be big, and Auburn's crowd as well, simply because
they've traveled well lately, too. Yes, and last year I was there for Alabama to win it. It was 80% Alabama.
I would expect the same thing this year.
Texas A&M being the opponent.
That is why Nashville has become the home of the SEC basketball tournament. That's why we say every year,
it's such a great location.
Yes,
don't move
quit
it.
moving it. It's perfect where it is. All right, let's get a break in. 256-764-977. More college basketball when we return.
Yeah, it's like
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are working with a clean slate now. Head-a-wreck indicator, 6th Avenue and 14th. It should be gone now. Everything else appears to be in pretty good shape this morning. You be careful on that trip in. Things can change quickly, so definitely put some extra room in there so you got someplace to go if something goes wrong. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding a solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tail incoming flights? You want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials light trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials light trap. Insecticide-free protection.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and yes, I was all excited yesterday, and I did pay it. Look, I paid attention to women's college basketball yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to ask you about this, because I asked about this already on another show.
And for good reason.
Right, Caitlin Clark.
Going up in Cedar Rapids. Now Caitlin at the line. For the record. She ties it with that one. This for college basketball history. She does it on a foul shot. Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball history. I'd play the Iowa version from the Iowa broadcasters, but I listened to it and I almost fell asleep.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was Gus Johnson.
Great. That was Gus Johnson on Fox Sports. Yeah. Just so before we get to the whole record thing, I had a lot of friends text me yesterday that a couple of them still work in the media business back home.
Right.
And Nolan Ryan, you ready for this? Nolan Ryan wanted to go to the game so bad that he spent $7,000 on 5 seats.
Wow.
About 3 rows back to go to the ball game yesterday. Travis Scott showed up at the basketball game. Now, of course, Jake from State Farm was there because she has a State Farm NIL deal.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right.
Jake from State Farm was there.
Right.
There were some other women dignitaries there as well from
probably not Cheryl Swoops, though, right?
So the Iowa fans created a shirt after that said, "Don't be a Cheryl."
Nice.
And they sold them and made a lot of money and donated them all to charity, by the way. But, anyway, Caitlin Clark does pass Pistol Pete Maravich for the all-time scoring record in college basketball. And it's something
it's significant.
It is.
And I know, before they sanctioned the NCAA as a women's sport for basketball, there was another young lady who scored 4,000 points, and I think Kevin's going to break that record.
And Iowa it was the AIWA, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And Lockhart is her name. Iowa brought her to the game yesterday and recognized her before the game. And
because Kaylin's likely coming back for another year. So
she's not. She already has declared. She declared before the game. She declared over the weekend before this game because she didn't want it to be a distraction.
Gotcha.
Said that she is going to not use her COVID year, and she is going to go to the WNBA, and the Indiana Fever had the number 1 overall pick.
So she's labor.
And she will be going to the Indiana Fever, yes.
So, I mean, and you can't really blame her. She's got really nothing else to prove. I just thought she might stay because, again, she's making a ton of money in the NIL, and she's an Iowan. She might stay and break that record. But I will say, I've made this comment. I think she's amazing to watch, and I don't, she draws people to the women's game. I watched her last year on the run to the finals against LSU, and she's just amazing to the way she can shoot the basketball, and not just that, the way she makes plays, she can pass the ball. She draws people to the women's game, but she's not Pistol Pete. Okay, here's the thing with the pistol. He did all this in 3 years. He did it without a 3-point line.
Oh no, yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, that's what I know enough to know that
now is she on Mount Rushmore of women's basketball? Yes. I think so. Yes, without a doubt, and she's the greatest Iowa player in history. I'd like to see her win the national championship to go out. You know what I'm saying? And carry Iowa to a national, because I think then she's better than Cheryl Swoops. I think she'd have an even bigger, because Cheryl went out as a national champion. If she could, top that, she scored more points than Cheryl, I think she would be. And then, with what Cheryl unfortunately said when she was ill-informed, I just think now Cheryl Swoops is on that short list of the greats, but she would be up there with the Shamiqua Holmes-Claus and all those kind of people. I think, to me, Caitlin Clark, she would be on the short list of all-time great college basketball players in the women's game.
Pistol Pete transformed the game of college basketball.
Oh, he did. He was so far ahead of his time.
So many levels. And you can't compare. I know she breaks the record, and you can't compare the two because of the different styles of play, the different eras of play.
She has made her own impact, a major one.
All right. Hour 1 is done. When we come back, Hour 2 is going to get underway. Travis Reier is going to join us. It is a big day in Tuscaloosa. We'll explain why it's such a big day when we return.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Free air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. OmahaSteaks.com/VSiN. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The Major League Baseball season officially gets underway in a couple of weeks. The Dodgers are the favorite plus 350 to win the World Series heading into the season. The defending champion Astros plus 800. The latest AP Top 25 men's basketball poll is out today. No changes expected among the top four, with number 1 Houston, number 2 Purdue, number 3 UConn, and number 4 Tennessee all likely to hold their positions. Conference tournaments getting underway, some of them starting this week. Futures to win the NCAA title this year. Connecticut the leader among bettors at plus 450, followed by plus 700 Houston, plus 700 Purdue, Arizona plus 1,200, Tennessee plus 1,300. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
CZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome back, Talking Ball, hour number 2. 60 minutes left to go on our Monday edition show. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota, hanging out here in the service department. And we mentioned today is a huge day for Alabama because, yes, I know we got to break down Alabama, Tennessee, and there was some, we're going to sprinkle maybe in some baseball and softball in there, but for the first time in, 17, 18 years, Alabama will kick off spring football today with no Nick Saban running the show.
Yeah, it's really, really surreal that he just and we're going to hear from Coach DeBoer later today, this afternoon. But spring practice is about to kick off for the University of Alabama for the first time since 2007 without Nick Saban at the helm, and it's going to be so surreal. We may even see like actual video that's not from the University of Alabama. And hear from assistant coaches. It's just sort of, as our next guest is about to join us for his weekly appearances, his colleague Charlie Potter was saying, I don't know what to do with myself, basically, because of
you got so used to not having to go to practice that now you can go to practice.
It's going to be different, but we're going to welcome in our weekly guest. He's the senior analyst since 2003 from BamaOnline.com. He also does a great job with their YouTube channel, and their YouTube channel is going to have even more activity, may even have video to look at, assistant coaches to hear from, and that is Travis Reier, and he's with us this morning. Good morning, Travis.
Good morning, guys.
What about yourself? I mean, I know that you're now in the Florida area, and you were in Tuscaloosa for many years. Your colleagues are still in Tuscaloosa, especially Charlie Potter. This is going to be kind of surreal, getting more access than we're used to with Alabama.
Yeah, it is, especially when you talk about assistant coaches on a fairly regular basis. But there was this sort of anticipation that there was going to be media viewing periods at every workout. That's not going to be the case. There's going to be 3 media viewing periods, one on midweek and then another one midweek later in the month. So just 3 of those in total. But certainly when you talk about player access and maybe assistant coaches, that's definitely going to be different.
Travis, where do you think the concentration, besides everybody paying attention to Kalen DeBoer and how he's going to handle everything, outside of that, where do you think the biggest attention will be then for spring football with this team?
I think regardless of coaching regime, spring is always a time for experimentation from a positional standpoint. And then when you do take into account that you're going from previous schemes that were employed by Nick Saban and his staff, and what Kalen DeBoer will look to put out there, both offensively and defensively, system fits from a personnel perspective. And, I don't think Kalen DeBoer is going to be in this sort of complete reinvent the wheel mode. Why would he be? But even when you look at the quarterback position, just look at Austin Mack coming in from Washington and Julian Sayin moving on to Ohio State, and
just different schemes and concepts and how the adaptation takes place within those, both from the staff and from the returning players and new players, because you've got so many early enrollees. They're going to be a big part of the storyline as well. And then you've got some changes in terminology that guys are going to have to pick up that are coming back. That was one thing Nick Saban kept pretty much in line throughout all the changes with coordinators and coaches during his 17 seasons at UA, was that stuff really didn't change. It was on the staff to change. I think it's going to be more so on the players this time around.
Yeah, and in your mind, Travis, I know you mentioned quarterbacks, but I've got to believe that a couple of areas to watch heavily, though, are going to be offensive tackle. And because they did lose one to the NFL, one to the portal, and then the secondary, a lot of losses there.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you talk about returning players that have a lot on them this spring, I think Elijah Pritchett is at the top of that sort of list, coming back at the offensive tackle position, and will he be ready this time around? Because he had a window a year ago, wasn't quite capable of taking advantage of it, and so it's not often that you get two windows at a place like Alabama, but it looks like that could be the case for him. But yeah, if you were going to pick areas on either side of the ball, offensive tackle, the secondary in general, again, where you've got a lot of newcomers involved on the back end of this defense, you almost have to because of your numbers, and then offensive tackle too. Offensive line, but tackle for sure, because you've got a couple, maybe even 3 second-year guys that could factor into that, and then between tackle and the secondary, that's going to shape your approach to the transfer portal once it opens back up again too.
So there is a lot to look at for this Alabama team. We forget about, too, now, Will Reichert's gone from the kicking position, so they're going to be breaking in a new kicker as well.
Connor Talty.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk about just one shoe and not two shoes that are going to be the biggest to fill, I think you could say Will Reichert would be right at the top of that list. And, it'll be interesting. Connor Talty is a second-year guy, scholarship guy. Previous staff evaluated him not only to be a successor to Will Reichert in 2025, but remember, Will kind of did an about-face. It looked like he was going to move on after the 2022 season, and instead elected to return for a final season in 2023. So that sort of pushed back the rush on Talty. He did get limited action last season, so I think that was a positive for him, and absolutely, it's nice to have the situation they have in terms of their other specialists, but in terms of the place-kicking job, that's a big one.
Yeah, it really is, and then of course, as you said, defensively, they're going to have completely different things schematically to do. But it's interesting, though, that I know it's early in recruiting, but they get some big news coming out of the weekend from Freddie Roach and the defensive line, and it just goes to show you. First, they get Ryan Williams. Now, it's ironic that this is his teammate, and he hasn't signed anything, but this is crazy that he's already committed to Alabama, flipped to Auburn, and now Antonio Coleman Jr. commits back to Alabama.
Yeah, it's been an interesting recruitment for sure, and we still got a little ways to go to signing day, I guess, but this felt significant. We had been getting a lot of questions from Alabama fans at BOL about when is DeBoer going to get that first 2025 guy, and so to be able to pull Coleman back from Auburn, and I think it's not a coincidence that it involves a South Alabama kid as well, because
that's true.
When you think about the start of the run for Nick Saban at Alabama, it really was contingent and hinged upon the Mobile area. So for DeBoer to be able to go back down there and not only bring Ryan Williams back into the fold, but now his former teammate Coleman as well, I think that's a nice start for DeBoer and his staff on the trail.
Well, and then to switch gears to basketball, a tough loss for Nate Oates in Alabama. I thought game day was a huge success. A great student turnout, a lot of energy, and then the arena was electric, Travis. But a loss to just a better team in the Vols right now. Alabama now with a very tricky game at Florida, and then they finish with Arkansas at home. The big goal, though, is to try to get that double bye and not play until Friday.
Yeah, and that seems a long way away because of what Alabama still has in front of it, as you outlined. Now, Arkansas on Saturday, that's obviously a very winnable game, but that road trip to Gainesville tomorrow night, and I think in some ways fortunate that tip-off got moved up a little bit. That was going to be an 8 Central, and it's been moved to 6 here in the last week. It's senior night at Florida, so that's going to add to the degree of difficulty probably, especially early in the game. Now the Gators are coming off a tough loss as well at South Carolina, so we'll see how the psyche is for that club going into this final week of the regular season. But yeah, it just felt like going back to the first matchup with Tennessee, it's pretty obvious that wasn't a good matchup for this Alabama team. Nate's had some teams that could deal with that pretty well. This one maybe not so much, and even with that, had a 7-point lead in the second half, just went incredibly dry from the field. I think it was 3 of their last 21 from the field. Hung in there on the boards. Points off turnovers were a problem for a second straight Saturday. Kentucky had kind of taken advantage of that at Rupp, and then you saw more of it on Saturday against Tennessee. And it just felt like later in the second half, Tennessee dictated with its defense, kind of kept pushing the Alabama offense further and further outside on the perimeter. Wasn't going to give up, too many uncontested threes. I thought Alabama got some good looks, but 9 of 37 from 3. If you just look at it from a box score perspective for Alabama, usually that's not going to be a good thing because you knew Tennessee was going to be able to match Alabama at the free throw line. Tennessee's going to get to the line, and then if Tennessee had an edge in threes, that probably wasn't going to be a good thing for UA.
Yeah, coaches will always tell you sometimes it's the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat category that'll get you. And Tennessee's ability to get to a lot of those 50-50 balls down the stretch was a huge thing for the Vols.
Yeah, Rick Barnes, that's what his teams are going to do. If you're not going to do that, kind of like Nate, they're very different in a lot of ways in terms of offensive approach and things like that. But Tennessee got up 43s in the game, and so that was really the kind of game Alabama wanted. But, Alabama goes 9 of 37 from 3, and as you said, in a game like that, you get under the 8 timeout, and Alabama's still in a good spot right there. But as you said, it was Tennessee that won too many of those sort of hard hat situations, I'm sure, for Nate's liking there in the final 8 minutes.
And I know she's been at it a long time, and she's returned them to the NCAA tournament. But how significant is it for Alabama, first of all, to get the 78-71 win on the road at Texas A&M, and for the first time since 97-98 on the women's side, to be going to Greenville, South Carolina with a bye until Friday?
Yeah, it's just tremendous. Hot finish to the season for Christy Curry's team, and Sarah Ashley Barker and the rest of that crew are to be commended. And it'll be interesting. It's kind of a good news, bad news. You get the 4 seed, but then you're on the same side as South Carolina. But you'll deal with that because it's not like the 2 is a treat. If you got LSU, so you'll take it for sure because you get the bye. It could be an interesting matchup there with, I guess, Tennessee in the quarters. But man, Alabama has been really good against the Lady Vols in the last 5 or 6 years under Christy Curry, so that's a matchup I'm sure they're okay with as well. But yeah, it's March Madness. It's kind of crazy these days at Alabama to know that both of your basketball teams going into either the final week of the regular season or SEC women's tournament play are already in the NCAA tournament.
And then Travis, baseball-wise, the baseball team traveling to Texas, Frisco Classic, a great measuring stick, I guess you could say early measuring stick test for this Alabama baseball team.
Really was an intriguing trip out there because you knew things were going to ramp up from a competition standpoint, and I thought Alabama held up extremely well. I know it was disappointing to finish with an extra innings loss to a really good Dallas Baptist program. I know people that don't follow college baseball much look at a name of a school like Dallas Baptist or a program and think, well, they've traditionally been a powerhouse, even if it was at the lower level prior to moving up. But top 25 team, Alabama had its chances. 3-4 hitters for Alabama. I guess you could even throw the 5 in there, go a combined 1 of 16 in the game yesterday and leave 7 guys on base. So that's going to happen. That's baseball, but boy, you continue to get good things from Gage Miller, TJ McCants, Justin LeBron, Bryce Eblin. It's just, it's a fun team to watch right now. And top to bottom in the lineup, I guess, Rob has to be happy with what he's getting. Pitching-wise, with Hess at the top, you've got a legit Friday night guy. It's a shame that they lost Riley Quick when they did. It's been a shame no matter when they lost him, but the weekend starter type, so they're trying to work around that. And but a team that has a lot of promise, no doubt.
No doubt, and then softball-wise, they finally take a loss. South Alabama, though, is kind of like Dallas Baptist. If you follow softball collegiately, if you have Alabama and Auburn in state, South Alabama is got to be the third best program. They take Alabama down 2-0, but Alabama does bounce back and get 2 wins over a really good Arizona squad.
Yeah, if you score 3 runs and give up 3 runs in 3 games, and you go 2-1, that's probably about as good as you can hope for. And so, that was the case for Alabama. A couple 1-run wins over Arizona. The tough loss to South Al, but 19-1 now on the season. And you just worry about the sustainability of what we're seeing right now in terms of once you get into SEC play coming up here very quickly. Can you continue to thrive in these 1-run situations? They play pretty good defense, and they don't walk a lot of people. This pitching staff, Kayla Beaver's been exactly what they need her to be. Pitching depth has been okay to this point, but there's still a lot to learn about this team, and I think to their benefit, they've already been in a lot of these 1-run type of games, and that's fast-pitch softball in general. That's softball. Played at the highest level. You're not just going to go out and score 8, 9, 10 runs. You're going to have to be able to win the 1-0s and the 3-2s and the 2-1s. So they've definitely sharpened, test their mettle, I guess you could say, when it comes to those type of contests so far.
Yeah, they really have. Well, Travis Dreyer covering the gamut of Alabama athletics here on Talkin' Ball here on this Monday, as always. It's going to be a busy one this week with spring football back, basketball down the stretch, both on the men's and women's side, and baseball and softball. Travis, let everybody know how to connect with you.
Just go to BamaOnline.com, hang out on the roundtable with us, our premium message board there at BamaOnline.com. We also have a YouTube channel up and running. We'll be up later this morning with Andrew Bone, Tim Watts, Jimmy Stein, talking Alabama football recruiting, spring practice, hoops, a little bit of everything on the YouTube home for BOL coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll stick with the college football conversation. I want to get to what Johnny Manziel's doing, and we'll break down a little bit more Alabama spring and Auburn spring. A lot of stuff to get to here on Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck reported Parkway and Drake. I don't have a direction reported yet, but it is coming in as an injury type. Got the 100 block of Emerson Road in Madison, that's south of Gillespie, had a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. Martin Luther King and Pulaski Pikes coming in as a no injury, and Church and Grant in Decatur reported as a no injury. You get 2 pieces of hand-breaded juicy tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University and Georgia Thornton, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available in 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the BBC box office.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed. Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I'm here today with Dr. Tracy Lowry of Veracity Vein Center. Now, how does someone suspect they have vein issues?
The most common symptoms associated with vein issues include leg heaviness, aching, and swelling, with some patients having visible veins as well. Vein issues can be easily diagnosed using ultrasound, with treatments performed as an outpatient using the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Both men and women have vein issues, though men may be more likely to ignore their symptoms when they're playing golf or walking the stadium steps. They too will benefit from correction of their vein problem. Patients can contact our clinics in Huntsville and new clinics in Madison and Coleman at 256-715-7151 or visit us at VeracosityVeinCenter.com.
Veracity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
Welcome back, Talkin 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and I mentioned this Johnny Manziel situation a little bit ago. It may be nothing. I had to fix my headphones here. It may be nothing, and it may be something. We all know Reggie Bush does not have his Heisman, right?
Yeah, we know. That's stupid.
A lot of people think he should have it. Well, Johnny Manziel he thinks he's going to start a groundswell movement in getting Reggie Bush his Heisman back. Johnny Manziel is going to, so every year they have the Heisman Trophy celebration in New York City. Every past Heisman Trophy winner is on stage there in New York City, and they introduce each one of them. Johnny Manziel is going to boycott and has asked other Heisman Trophy winners to boycott the ceremony until Reggie Bush gets his Heisman Trophy back.
But guess what? Nobody cares about Johnny outside of Texas.
That's what I was wondering. Is this just Johnny trying to be and keep his name relevant in circles, or is this actually something that others?
It's a publicity stunt to try to keep yourself relevant because you stink.
There you go. That's what I wanted to know, and that's what I wanted to.
Good Lord. I mean, that's all it is. Johnny just trying to stay relevant because he was a colossal flop in professional football. And to be honest, he won the Heisman, and he was a great player at one time. But that is in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, 10 years ago. And it was kind of like a comet. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of these guys that is going to be remembered in college football for eternity, okay? Because he basically did it for a year. The year after, he wasn't nearly as good.
Right.
I think we all saw who made him great. He just got $1 over 2 years, Mike Evans, to re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? He was thrown to a freakazoid.
There you go.
Johnny was a great college player for a while until he kept drinking and drugging. And then gone. And so, okay, because he was probably high every game the year after the Heisman anyway.
No doubt. So, I'm not going to argue with that one. Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Boy, for a while, he was a great player for a short period of time, but he's not one of these. And I was even fascinated with him in 12 and 13 and his ability, but I've basically forgotten him. I've seen better players. In my opinion, that I'll be honest with you. The current Heisman Trophy winner, I saw him live, and I think he turned into a better player than Johnny, and he's going to be a good pro. So I'm sorry, but I don't remember Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is some all-time great college player. He had a moment in time. He was a great player. Everything kind of came together for him. He pulled a game out of his rear end against Alabama that he would never do again, and that won him a Heisman Trophy. Because people forget he couldn't even beat LSU a few weeks later. But yeah, Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is even more dynamic. I think he was a better player. I think he'll be a better pro. I just think Johnny's he's doing these podcasts and he's doing all this stuff trying to stay relevant because he probably is broke.
All right. So there you go. That was the Johnny Manziel story that I wanted to just to put out there because I thought it was interesting, just for a smidge. All right, so Alabama does get back on the spring practice field today for the very first time, and I know we had Travis Reier on a little bit ago at the top of the hour talking about it, but if you did not get to hear Travis Reier's thoughts, what are you paying attention to today? What are you looking at today for Alabama spring football? Is there something that is, we're going to pay attention probably to this spring a little bit more than we have in the past, but is there something that...
I've said it before. I just think offensive tackle, like I said to Travis, I'd like to see how they're progressing because I think that's where the staff is concerned, and they haven't seen these guys on the practice field, but it's about the depth situation. You don't have proven guys. Pritchett did not, play very much. McVay, and in same way with Wilkin Formby, they basically redshirted, all right? And then you brought in Bertrand from Texas A&M, but that was really this staff didn't bring him in. That was a Nick Saban ad before he retired, Scott, and as someone when Eric Wolford was offensive line coach.
Right.
So it's take a look at the offensive tackle positions. Then you did get Saab from Michigan at the last minute as far as safeties go. You were able to get him and poach him from Michigan, and he was a guy that played quite a bit down the stretch for the Wolverines. But you lost Caleb Downs, who was your best returning secondary guy. You lost Kool-Aid McKinstry. You lost Terrion Arnold. So there's a lot of competition at corner. You kept Damani Jackson, the transfer from USC. And then you've got some younger guys. You signed 6 DBs, Zay Mincy, Peyton Woodyard, Zavion Brown. Can these guys, Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., are they going to make an impact, in their first year. How are they going to take to the scheme? Do you feel like after spring that you've got to add an offensive tackle? And do you feel like you got to add maybe another piece to the secondary? And then the quarterbacks, it's just intriguing because you have a dynamic guy who finished in the top 6 in the Heisman, and of course Jalen Milroe, who's coming back. But how does he take to this scheme, which is completely different than what he did, what he ran last year?
Right.
And then does Austin Mack push him? It's a clean slate for Ty Simpson and Dylan Lonergan. So how does the quarterback situation play out? I think quarterback, offensive tackle, and secondary are your top 3 storylines. And to me, if you want to say a fourth, maybe running back, because schematically how do they fit in? But I think they're really excited about Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, and Richard Young, and the 2 young guys, Daniel Hill, who was from Meridian, Mississippi, and Kevin Riley from Tuscaloosa. I think they feel good about the running back room.
Right.
But I just think overall those top 3, offensive tackle, secondary, and quarterback, are what I'm going to be watching.
All right, that's in case you missed the Travis Reier conversation at the top of the hour. Alabama spring football kicking off with Kalen DeBoer. He will meet the media today at 5:30, so make sure you listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton to hear Kalen DeBoer live on The Drive. All right, let's get a break in, because when we come back, Auburn is in the middle of spring football as well. And Hugh Freeze met the media on Thursday, plus Bruce Pearl, the Auburn Tigers, coming off a win against Mississippi State. Brian Matthews will join the program coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Increasing clouds heading into this Monday night. We'll see low temperatures fall into the upper 50s for the overnight. A few isolated showers going to be possible mainly after midnight as well. Heading into your Tuesday, widespread rainfall, potentially a few thunderstorms going to be possible. High temperatures look to top out in the upper 60s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 25 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That wreck at the Parkway in Drake's actually northbound on the main lanes, reported with injury. Had a pedestrian struck by a vehicle in Madison, the 100 block of Emerson Road. That's going to be off Gillespie. Martin Luther King and Pulaski Pike was a no injury. Church and Grand in Decatur was a no injury. And we got a limb on 251 at Bethel Road, apparently blocking part of the roadway. They've got troopers on the way for that one. Snelling can help you find the accounting and office professionals you need. Direct hire, temp, or temp to hire. Snelling, partnering with the area's top companies for over 60 years. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding a solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the show. 8:34 on a Monday morning. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota. In the first hour, we heard from Bruce Pearl as his Auburn Tigers were victorious over the weekend against Mississippi State, a win that keeps them in the hunt for one of those double byes in the SEC tournament. And then on Friday it was actually, we heard from Hugh Freeze. He met the media on Thursday, and we let you hear some of that on Friday as the Auburn Tigers are in the middle of spring football as well. Baseball, a productive weekend. Softball, a very productive weekend. A lot going on with Auburn as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're going to catch up with our next guest. Since 2001, he's been on the beat covering the Auburn Tigers. He's with AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network. And it's been a busy time for Auburn, no doubt about it. They had a nice 2 out of 3 series win against a program in Connecticut that people won't talk about a lot, but has been a perennial regional, even super regional participant. So a nice start for Auburn baseball, Auburn softball ranked, and then, of course, Bruce Pearl, we already talked about. They have probably the most advantageous schedule going forward at Missouri, and then, of course, back in Neville against Georgia. They should secure one of these top 4 and the double bye to Friday. And spring practice has started, year 2 for Hugh Freeze, Brian Matthews. Brian, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me in.
Yeah, take your pick. I mean, there's plenty of stuff going on, bro.
And I know you cover baseball closely. I'll let you start with that. I know they got the win to secure the series against Connecticut. And like I said, the UConn program is one that people don't talk about a lot, kind of like Dallas Baptist and Alabama Falls to Dallas Baptist. But it's a program that's been a perennial postseason team.
Yeah, I think this was the toughest series Auburn's played so far in this early season. They are a quality team. They have some really good pitching depth and some guys who could flat out swing the bats. But, Auburn split the doubleheader Saturday. UConn really jumped on them in the second game there. And then they came back and won the rubber game Sunday behind some really good pitching by Carson Myers and Cam Cherry, the freshman. So I thought it was an overall good weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. And Ike Irish continues to improve and had a great freshman year last year, but he's going to be a big leader. I know Derek Fabian also, had a home run as well to secure that series win. And it's been a lot of electricity around the program because of the improvements of Plainsman's Park. I know Frank Thomas was there to kick off the season. So Butch Thompson, I know it's a team that has to develop some pitching, but that's kind of his forte. And this Auburn team off to a pretty good start, I would say.
I would say pretty good. Talking to Butch after this game Sunday, he feels like this team still has a lot of room for improvement. I think they're a little concerned about their starting pitching and the consistency there, and just sort of figuring out everybody's role on that pitching staff. So I think that's still a work in progress. Joseph Gonzalez couldn't get out of the first inning in that second game of that doubleheader. So they're still trying to work through, bringing him back after missing last year with that injury.
Yeah, and Brian Matthews, kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline talking Auburn athletics, because literally we're going to try covering the gamut here. Bruce Pearl, Mississippi State, Auburn gets a win inside Neville Arena. The good thing is they get a win. They've got Missouri, Georgia to finish out the schedule. But, Brian, we talked about it. They're going to be without Leor Berman, though, the rest of the way.
I hated it for that, Brian, because of all he's done and earned at Auburn.
Yeah, that's a tough break for him because, he started out as a walk-on, earned a scholarship last year, and then as this season's gone on, he's earned more and more playing time. It's gotten better and better. He was really being able to affect games. I thought he had a really important drive and shot there against Mississippi State there to really help them out early. And, not Mississippi State, but the last game before that, before he got injured. So that was tough. And I thought the Mississippi State game was an important win for Auburn. I thought that was their toughest opponent in this run-in here. And, they built that. They jumped on them early, built that lead. They basically kept the double digits for most of the rest of the game. I think State got within 7 or 8 one time in the second half, and that was it.
Yeah, and now, as we said, the schedule at Mizzou, you never take anything for granted, but it's a very winnable road game for Auburn. Auburn will finish in Neville against Georgia. Should be a win, so they've got to feel good. I know Bruce wants to win at least a share of this conference title, but getting the double bye to Friday is huge. Do we have you, Brian?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, I was just talking about the double bye is huge, though, with the way the schedule sets up for Auburn. I know Bruce wants a part of this conference championship, but they seem very, very likely to be in that top 4.
Yeah, I think the regular season title is probably not reachable for Auburn now. They're 2 games behind Tennessee. But Auburn does have the best run-in of every team above them. So I think Kentucky and Tennessee play Tuesday, I believe. I'm sorry, Kentucky and Alabama play.
Yeah, play.
Wait, no. Hold on, wait.
No, Alabama and Florida play Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's Kentucky and Tennessee either Wednesday or Saturday. I can't remember which. But
Tennessee Saturday ended up. Yep.
There you go. But it's tight right now. Auburn and Kentucky are tied for 4th. Alabama is the game ahead, tied for South Carolina for 2nd. And Tennessee right now is in 1st, and then you got Florida right on the heels. So. And Florida and Kentucky, when it comes down to that, that 4th spot and that 2-round bye, both have the advantage over Auburn with the head-to-head. So Auburn needs to finish above those 2 teams to really have a chance to earn that 4th spot.
They do. And then, of course, we know Hugh Freeze spoke to the media. Auburn football has already started. I know you wrote in your musings about player-led teams. I know chemistry-wise with the coaching staff, probably with that roster being so portal-centric in year 1, there were some issues there. What did your take from hearing from Hugh Freeze to start spring ball for Auburn?
I think he's much more comfortable with his staff, with his offensive staff in particular, and the offensive approach they're going to have this year. And I think he's more comfortable with the team overall, just in them showing up and doing all the things he wants a football team to do as far as the work on and off the field. So I think in that respect, Auburn's definitely taking a step forward there. I think there's a lot of buzz about the wide receiver room and Cam Coleman and the improvements that are coming there. Cam's just a true freshman, but he's already turning heads here. And it's great getting him in early, to learn the system and just to get through that first spring practice and, be able to push for a starting job potentially, I feel like. So I think Auburn is turning the corner now and is on the way to being a much more competitive team. Still got a lot of holes they got to fill and still got a lot of talent they got to add to the roster, but I'd be surprised if they don't take a step forward in year 2.
Hugh Freeze talked about it on Thursday. Brian, is there really a quarterback competition?
I think so. It's hard to know exactly what it's going to look like because Thorne has so much more experience over Hank Brown and the other guys competing here. But I do think he's going to have them compete 100% out, especially Hank and Peyton, and just see how that looks. But I do think it's going to be hard to beat out Peyton just because of the experience, and we'll see. I think whoever's quarterback is going to be in a better position than last year with the offensive line, with the receivers, with the offensive system. I think all 3 of those areas have gotten better, and that's going to help out Peyton Thorne or Hank Brown or whoever's the quarterback.
And then, we already talked about Cam Coleman, but there's also Perry Uno Thompson, there's Bryce Kane, there's Malcolm Simmons. Do all these 4 guys, and it was one of the best receiver classes in the country, do all of them have a chance to contribute as true freshmen in your mind, Brian, with what we saw with a lack of big plays from that group last year?
I think they do. You also got a couple of transfers, Robert Lewis and Sam Jackson.
Right, Georgia State. Yep.
So, I don't think all four of those guys will be a big part of the rotation, because then you're talking about, numbers-wise, everybody's got to have a spot. But I do think a couple of those guys could eventually be starters or be big parts of the rotation. I think Cam Colin being the top guy there, and we'll see what everybody else can do, of course. Malcolm Simmons is one of those upside guys. He's going to get better and better as his career goes forward. So he might take a year to really develop and push for a major spot in the play rotation. And Bryce Keane is at that. That's going to be the interesting one to me. Is Auburn does return some pretty good slot guys. So can Bryce Keane push Jay Fair and Caleb Burton and those guys, or is it going to take him maybe a year before he can push into that top two in the rotation?
And then with Auburn, you just mentioned something. A lot of times with a portal guy, the second year can be the best year. I know it was with Landon Dickerson at Alabama. Is there someone, maybe like a Fairweather or someone that you think is a second-year portal guy can make a big jump?
That's an interesting question. Certainly, Fairweather, you mentioned, of course, he already set the record for Auburn tight end receptions.
Right.
But I think, he's going to be even a bigger weapon in the SEC, which is his ability to catch the ball and to stretch defenses out of that position. I think that's something they want to use more. I think a guy like Dylan Wade, who's moving from left tackle to his more natural guard position, they feel like he's a NFL prospect there. I think he's going to thrive in that spot. And I think, potentially Jalen McLeod on defense, who came in, was Auburn's best pass rusher last year. A year in the system, a year in the weight room. He's one of those kids that works his tail off tight. He can take a step forward, too, and really help out Auburn even more, providing that pass rush on the edge.
And then Brian, softball had a really good weekend at home as well.
Yeah, they had a couple of walk-off wins. I guess they went undefeated in their tournament. I think they played like 5 or 6 games, but beat USC Upstate their Sunday. Beat them twice, beat Northwestern once, and then took care of North Texas 2 in extra innings. So it was a really, really good weekend for the ladies, the softball team.
It really was, no question about it. And then going forward, with Bruce Pearl in basketball, as we said, they've got a great shot to win their final 2 games and get to the Nashville with a top 4 seed and get the double bye. It's been a really good year. They're playing for seed now, basically, in the NCAA tournament, though.
Right.
And I know losing Lior really hurts the depth, and he was a fabric guy. But as far as this team goes right now, Brian, how do you like the way they're developing and playing? And does it open the door? How do they deal with the loss of a Lior Berman, depth-wise?
Yeah, so I feel like this team's gone through a lot of changes just in the last couple of weeks. They dealt with the Jalen Williams injury, and that allowed Chad Baker-Mazara to step in as a starter, and he's really thrived in that role. They're still playing 10 guys, in the rotation, so they still have that depth now. But I think they've strengthened their starting unit, but I don't think they're as strong off the bench now. I think they're going to be a little bit more careful about, who and when, who and what, and for how long guys come off the bench. It's not like they can substitute a whole second team now and still be as effective. So I think that's changed a little bit, but I think what you saw against Mississippi State with them jumping on them so early and really putting them down double digits, within the first, 7 or 8 minutes of that game, and I think that's an indication of what this team is capable of doing with this current starting lineup that includes Chad Baker-Mazara and now having Jalen Williams back. And I think that time that Jalen was away allowed a guy like Jamie Johnson to really step up and gain more confidence. And every time he steps in the game now, he's become more of a threat offensively, which is a big boost for this team, too.
No question. Well, good stuff, Brian. We always enjoy the intel from an Auburn perspective. I know a lot going on. You guys covering spring football, down to the stretch toward postseason for hoops in basketball, and then, of course, baseball, softball, and even, of course, Auburn's women's ladies basketball program definitely look like they're going to be headed to postseason. But let everybody know how to follow you guys at Auburn Sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Women's basketball got that win at Florida, finished 8-8. And you can get full coverage of baseball, football, basketball, spring practice, you name it. They're off this week for football, for spring break. But all that more at auburnsports.com. You can follow me on Twitter, /X, and Threads at BMATAU.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Travis.
Appreciate it, Brian.
Brian. Oh, boy, brother. Let's get that final break in. That was a bad one. Let's get the final break in. More Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like we're going to wrap it up this morning with several accidents working. We got northbound on the Parkway near Drake. That's on the main lanes. Had injuries there. 100 block of Emerson Road in Madison. That's off Gillespie. Had a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. Pulaski Pike and MLK still may be trying to clear. Church and Grand in Decatur may still be working. And we got part of a tree down 251 in Bethel Road in Limestone County. Troopers on the way for that one. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tail incoming flights? You want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials light trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service? Interrupted. New Raid Essentials light trap. Insecticide-free protection.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. Time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So, Gulf South Conference basketball. The regular season has come to a close. The brackets are set. Indeed, the UAH Chargers, it was a wild and crazy Saturday. So much so that after UAH beat Valdosta State on the road,
right,
the bus ride home, the action was still ongoing. Coach Schulman got on the bus before we left and said, hey, look, guys, it doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter. You can watch it, you can learn it, whatever. The thing is, we will be at home on Tuesday. The opponent doesn't matter. We will be playing a conference game. We are 3 wins away from winning the conference tournament. That's all that matters. The guys are locked in. They're ready. They will welcome Christian Brothers Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, Spraggins Hall, 97.7 ESPN The Zone will have the game for you.
Now, West Georgia won the league, correct?
West Georgia wins the league. Lee is the number 2 seed. UAH takes the 3 seed. Yeah, so they will play the 6 seed Christian Brothers on Tuesday. The winner of that one will go to
the Hanna Center
on the campus of Samford University for Saturday's semifinal game.
Right.
And if you win that, then you play for the conference championship on Sunday. So that is the Gulf South Conference tournament in a nutshell.
And let me ask you this, and I know Coach Shulman, we're hopefully going to speak with him tomorrow.
Yes.
Do they need to at least reach the finals to get into the tournament?
Ooh, that is a good question because UAH came in as the 8th seed in the South region.
Yep.
And when it comes to that 8th seed, it's almost like you're not in the tournament.
Exactly. You're right there on the bubble.
Right. You can be easily replaced. I would say if they can beat Christian Brothers and they win that second round game, then I would think you have a good shot of getting there.
Because you'll probably get West Georgia in the finals.
Because you would get, presumably West Georgia in the finals. And you split with them during the regular season.
And it's on a neutral floor.
And it's on a neutral floor.
It should be a pro UAH crowd.
Should be. UAH, we talk about how Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Auburn have been traveling very well.
Correct.
In the conference tournament. UAH is the Kentucky version in the Gulf South Conference.
Yeah, it's in Birmingham too, yeah.
Yes, they travel very, very well. The ASUN Conference tournament brackets are all set. And North Alabama coach Tony Pujol will take on a very, very familiar name in round 1.
The 6 seed Lions taking on the 3 seed Lipscomb Bison.
Yes, and head coach Lenny Acuff, who of course was the longtime head coach of the UAH Chargers and most recently inducted into the UAH Hall of Fame.
And Gulf South Conference Hall of Fame as well. He's the GOAT of the Gulf South.
Yes, he is. All right, I hope you enjoyed it.
Bakari Lane versus Lenny Acuff. What a matchup.
It should be fun.
Yeah,
UNA did trip up Lipscomb at home.
They did. They got him in the regular season.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for our 2 hours of fun here at Bill Penny Toyota. Thanks to, is that Chad? Wow, I can actually hear a cue.
Yeah, like, what happened to Bandy? He's standing right there.
Okay.
Right, wow. We're good. We were worried about you sitting there, Bandy. You got a show to do.
Anyway, we're done.
He's got a dentist appointment. Okay. Ouch.
Ouch. All right, we're done. We'll be back at it tomorrow.
So, Chad's doing the show.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with 2 $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com